It seems like as a growth strategy, one of the big levers you've pulled a lot is acquisitions. And then I know other companies in the space, they kind of wear it as like a badge of honor, like we've never acquired anyone, what you see is all homegrown here. So how do you think about build versus buy, and what have been some of the advantages or the reasons you've landed there?
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. I think, first of all, most people misunderstand our acquisition strategy. It's like everything we acquire, we rebuild in-house, right? So the way I kind of think about it and the way I think about acquisitions, I think is one of the most underrated skill in the business. And I think most companies don't understand how powerful an acquisition really is. Sure, there's acquisitions where you're like buying companies and revenues to try to do roll-ups and stuff like that, but that's not really what we do and how we operate, right? We're a product-led company and a product-first company in many different ways. What I think is the most powerful part of acquisition that most people don't realize is, I think you build a company usually and it gets pretty significant or impacts a lot of people when you've got something right? Like your views of the world regarding topic A, B, or C, kind of, you were right on how that should have worked. Therefore, you got traction and people are excited about what you built. The problem is, I think, as a founder and as a product leader, the number of times you have the right instincts and you have the time to be able to go as deep as, for example, I may have had on the payroll side, on the EOR side, is limited, right? And you just don't have the capacity to do it as much as you want, right? Like specifically when there's so many things happening every day, right? When it comes to AI, for example, like I want to be able to spend as much time as I spent on payroll personally on like performance, right? On learning, on immigration, right? And the truth of the matter is just you can't, right? Like you just don't have the bandwidth to do that. And what I've basically found is that the best way to be able to acquire people that are kind of obsessed with the problem that you want to solve, and I've thought about it, in every single way possible, and potentially in a similar way that you're directionally thinking about, is acquisition, right? Like being able to say, well, you know what, I'm going to bring the best people in the world, acquire their business, and have them come to the company and build with me. And that is super unique. And this is the power of acquisition. And if you look at the way we've kind of acquired businesses at Deel, it's always been with that mindset, right? Like we acquired Xavi because, they spent a lot of time thinking about learning and performance and, kind of bringing them in and rebuilding their full product in-house. That was like how we operated. Same thing with IT. Same thing with immigration, with the legal pad acquisition at the time, right? So those are the core acquisitions where, although a lot of companies in the market are trying to say, oh yeah, same thing for us. We build everything in-house. It's just much better to bring someone that has thought about this for 5 years and empower them to build something really great and leverage the fact that we have great distribution inside of the company.